In today's video, how Taylor lost 37 pounds in 90 days after her third child. Hey guys, in today's video, I'm interviewing Teylor Mine, who just completed the transformation challenge with Pro Physique and lost an incredible 37 pounds. So here's her story through kids, through adversity. Hope you enjoy it. All right, everybody. So for today's video, we're interviewing Teylor Mine. How are you, Teylor?
I'm great.
So Teylor actually took third in our transformation challenge. And how much did you make?
$25.
$2,500. Okay, so hopefully that was useful. So what I thought we would talk about today is just your journey through this. You know, how you found out about the challenge, what, you know, when it comes to the resources that we provide, what value did those add? And then mostly I just want to hear about, you know, people underestimate how long 90 days is. They think, oh, 90 days, that's not hard. 12 weeks is a long time. It starts to become a grind. So I want to talk a little bit, you know, how you stayed motivated. So let's start with, how did you find the transformation challenge?
I actually I follow a lot of people that are bodybuilders, and I started following your page, and you posted something about the challenge. And so I was, okay, like, let me look at it. And so I looked at it for a couple of days, and then I decided I was just going to do it.
Are you a competitive bodybuilder, or is that something you're considering?
No, it's just something I would love to do. I just look at them and I'm like, oh, I want to be them one day.
That's how most of us started, I think, you know, seeing that and getting inspired and wondering if we could push ourselves like that.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the statistics. Like, what was your starting weight, finishing weight, any measurements, anything like that?
I didn't really measure, but I was let's see, what was I? I was 172. I was 172 when I started, and I got to 135.
So what's the clothing difference? Because your waist literally looks like it's half the size.
Oh yeah, it is. I got down a half size. So I was a 10-12, and now I'm a 4-5. That's
crazy, right? You have a whole new wardrobe?
Yes.
That can be a good or a bad thing. So in 90 days, you lost, gosh, what is that? 35 pounds?
37 pounds.
37 pounds. Yeah. So was that a fairly even weight loss? Did you lose more at the beginning, more at the end, or?
So the first week, obviously you lose the most. I think I lost 5 pounds in the first week.
Okay.
And then from on, it was pretty consistent. It was 2 or 3 pounds every week. Some weeks, obviously, I would plateau, but usually it was around 2 or 3 pounds. And then that very last week, I think I lost 3.
Yeah, I find that towards the end, a lot of especially the people that I've interviewed, they've gotten quite aggressive in the final weeks, you know, double cardio, low carbs, just to get that last little push.
Yeah.
Which again, you know, when it comes to this being a competition, you know, there's a couple aspects to that. You know, some people will say, well, that's not sustainable, but you know, in my mind, this is a competition, just like getting on a bodybuilding stage. So if you've got that competitive spirit, I'm all for it. You know, it's not like we expect people to be doing anything crazy like that. So let's talk about your calories, your macros, cardio throughout the process. We provided some diets, some workouts, a private group. Did you utilize any of those tools?
Yeah, so when they very first sent everything out, I looked at the meal plans that they had, which was 15,000 for the calories, and
probably 1,500, 15,000.
I'm sorry, 15,000 calories, 1,500. Yes. And so I went with that. And so I stayed at 1,500, and this was the first time I've done macros. So I really focused on getting my protein as high as I could, just because I've never even focused on that before. So I tried to get my protein to around 150, which was actually pretty hard for me.
Yeah, that's good.
And kept my my carbs at 100 or below, and my fats around 40-45%.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, so I mean, was this the first time you had weighed and tracked food in that manner, or What was the big transition for you? Was it planning ahead? Was it like, plugging numbers into an app?
Yeah, so usually so this was after I had my third child, and with my other two, I would just kind of just go on super strict diets, whatever fab was out there, and I would lose the weight and then be in my normal average zone.
Mm-hmm.
And after this baby, I just gained weight. I just I couldn't do anything. I started to do intermittent fasting, and that didn't work. I tried to not eat all day, and then I would binge eat everything at night, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
And I just ended up gaining weight. And so this was the first time that I ate, and it was interesting because I was able to eat during the day, and I felt like I was super full, but I was eating all the right things, and I had meal prepped. So I had this food that I just could grab out of the fridge, and it wasn't a huge deal of, oh crap, what do I need to eat now?
Yeah, and it's something I harp on in my videos quite frequently, is that the most common trait amongst successful dieters is meal prepping, having food at your disposal. And also, if you're starving yourself all day, the likelihood of, binge eating at night goes way up, because, that's when you're going to have the cravings, and that's when you're going to be the most stressed. And that's when no one's watching what you're doing. So you don't feel the guilt, associated with someone seeing you eat, a whole sleeve of Oreos. But that sounds awesome to me, the idea that, you focused on protein, because protein is also very filling, so you can fill your hunger with foods that's going to be productive. Now let's talk a little bit about the workouts. Are you typically someone that would go to the gym and work out?
Yeah, so I have worked out for the last 9 years since I got married, because my husband is into all that, which is one reason why I wanted to do the challenge, because
Awesome.
He was like, okay, so you need to change something. Something needs to happen. So that was kind of my motivation. I'd been to the gym, and I was going to the gym, but I wasn't pushing myself.
Sure.
And so I did that kind of oomph to make me focus and really push myself into doing something.
Did you use any of the workouts we provided?
Yeah, I used a couple of the workouts you guys provided. I did every morning I would do fasted cardio, and I would do HIIT. So I would do 2 or 3 minutes of walking, and then I would run, and then 2 or 3 minutes of walking, and then I'd run. And then later that day, I would do my actual weights at the gym.
That's perfect. So yeah, you had a really good routine. Obviously, 3 kids at home that you're still the primary caregiver. How old are they?
Yes, they are 1, 3, and 5.
Wow. Yeah.
All girls.
All girls, 1, 3, and 5. So that is a handful. Where do you live, by the way?
In Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. So did your 5-year-old go to school this year, or was everyone at home?
She went to preschool. Okay. So she just 5, so she'll go to kindergarten next year.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, so everyone's going back to school. So I know it was weird all over the country. In Florida, our kids were actually in school, but then I had some friends in California and Chicago. Their kids weren't in school, so they were at home doing stuff. So interrupted.
Yeah, we didn't go back until after till the very end of the school year, which was I don't know why they're going back even, but.
So quick question. I know your kids see you every day, multiple times a day. Did they notice any difference in mommy?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Yes. All the time they'd be like, okay, are we going to go do our cardio now? And they knew there was a routine, and we had to do this first. And are you going to the gym yet? And it they got into it. Obviously my baby, she likes to sit on my belly while I do abs or anything on the ground.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would switch it up and do videos or some kind of something if I wasn't feeling it that day. And I just needed to do something different. And so they would do the videos with me, and they actually enjoyed it.
It's exciting to see that, especially for busy moms, I think that's a pretty common thing to you don't put yourself as a priority. Your kids come first, your husband comes first, your relatives, family. And so taking time, it's not selfish. If you're a happier, better version of you, the kids, they recognize that.
Yeah, it was something I was nervous about, because 2 hours a day is what I was doing. And I felt oh, that's a lot of time just to put into myself. But thankfully I had a mother who is very helpful in watching them, and my husband. So it was nice. Like I got to just focus on me for a little while and not feel like it was doing something horrible.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you have some help, but also in my mind, like even they would see the improvements that you were making, how hard you were working, and that's inspiring. It's exciting. I'm sure the people around you also felt like a sense of motivation.
Yeah, everybody decided to diet at the same time.
Well, you were making dinner probably, right? Are you the cook of the family?
Yeah, I was meal prepping, and the whole counter would have stuff all over it.
That's awesome. Hey, listen, like that's how successful people do this. And like, so I'm, the big thing with the transformation challenge is, obviously we focus on the physical for like the before and after pictures, but the transformation for me when I first started dieting the first time was organizational management, time management, stopping making excuses. And that's the transformation that's kind of more powerful in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was the first time I like did it for every meal. Like I planned every single meal instead of just saying, oh, I'll eat really good, and then at nighttime I'll just eat whatever.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
Yeah, and it's a good feeling when you wake up in the morning and you feel good because you've stayed on your diet all day and you see lines and changes in the mirrors, and obviously you're putting your pants on and they're not fitting anymore. Like it kind of builds some momentum. So
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the changes as far as how did you adjust over the course? Did you hit any sticking points? What adjustments did you make?
I was actually really lucky. I didn't plateau super bad ever, because I kind of, like I said, if I got bored or I was just tired of doing it, I would change up my workouts.
Okay.
And obviously, as time progressed, I went down in calories and everything, but I would make it to the point where I wasn't hungry. Like I never wanted to starve myself.
Okay.
So as I got thinner, obviously, I was less hungry, and I didn't have those feelings of, oh, I need this and I need that. And I would drink protein after all of my workouts, and I felt like I was getting the nutrition that I needed.
Yep.
And did have those days where I just felt like, oh, I need more. Then I would give myself more and have like a refeed kind of day, and then go back to what I was doing the next day.
Perfect. Did you utilize the private group? A lot of the feedback I got, I actually have people that request just to join that. They don't even want to do the challenge, just want to be in there. I mean, it's such a cool vibe in there. Everyone posting pictures and sharing recipes and encouraging each other. Did you get involved in there much?
Yes, I loved the Facebook page. Like I would wake up, I would look at the posts, and I would see like who was building muscle that day. And yeah, it was great. I absolutely I would join again just to be in the group. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I've talked to Troy about this before, but I think, the people that, like yourself that have been winners in the past, I would almost encourage, Troy, and we'll discuss it, but putting you guys in the group if you want, just because although it's a 90-day challenge, it's difficult at times, and people ask questions and they struggle. Everyone starts off on fire, everyone loses weight the first couple of weeks, but then when you get to those middle weeks, I feel like that's when a lot of the people drop off. And then at the end, I think everyone has momentum because it's so close to the finish line. So yeah, right. I think having you a part of it would be a value add. Did you watch any of the live videos that we did each week?
Yeah. I loved watching the coaches. Like I feel like everybody was so nice and gave such good insight. They were answered any of the questions that we had. So that was super great.
Yeah, that's something that we're definitely going to continue with that. The thing for me is, as a bodybuilder, I have a community of people that I'm either competing with or against, but you might be the only person in your community that's really focused on weight loss right now. So I liked creating that group, and that's been the biggest feedback, not the diets, not the training plans. It's the group that was the best motivator.
Yeah, it was a super good motivator. And it was interesting for me just because obviously I was really big. And so I was trying to just lose weight.
Yeah.
And they were posting these pictures of all of their muscle gain and everything. And so I was super jealous of the muscle aspect. And so I would go into the gym and try to push myself a little bit harder. for the muscles.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably a big misconception. I don't know if it's still the same, but the thought that if you train really hard with the weights that you're going to get all bulky. I mean, I just think that misconception needs to die because it just makes you look better and feel better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your calories. You mentioned they got lowered. What was the lowest you got your calories to throughout the process?
The last like month and a half, I was down to 1,000 calories.
Okay.
And then the last like 2 weeks, I ended up going camping actually like 2 weeks before the end of the challenge.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that was a good thing or bad thing, but it mixed up my workouts because I was working out outside and I was running outside, which before I had been on a treadmill. And I just tried to eat whatever like I could. Like we made chicken and I tried not to eat any of the crap that you usually eat when you're camping.
No s'mores.
Yes, no s'mores. So that week I'm sure that I ate a bunch of different things than I had been eating. And so then the weeks when I came back, which were right before the end of the challenge,
Yeah.
I probably was around like 800 just
Okay.
because I wasn't putting very much into my body at all, but protein
Yeah. Yeah.
and
And again,
carbs. Never got rid of carbs. Like I
really?
sure I had all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, now that's not something we would ever suggest people doing is going that low calorie. But again, the nature of a competition is you get a little motivated. And I'll say this, myself, I even do things that I would consider not long-term sustainable to reach my goal when I'm in like a contest prep. So now let's talk about what's happened since, because it's been a few weeks. And it wouldn't be much of a transformation challenge if you undid all your hard work at the end. So let's talk a little bit about where your calories are now, your cardio is now, your training, and just how you feel about yourself.
So I have upped my calories to about like 2,000 to 2,500.
Wow.
And obviously I was looking at everyone with all the muscle. So I decided to focus more on like gaining some muscle for a little while.
Heck
And
yeah.
then after I gain some more muscle, then I want to go back into cutting.
That's
But
awesome.
it is very interesting because I have like in the gym, I can feel like I can lift so much more now. And so it's exciting.
Yeah. And I think that's an important message too, is that, this is called a transformation challenge, not a weight loss challenge. So a lot of what we try to focus on is, changing your body composition is a part of that. And so, as competitors, what I tend to focus on is every time I diet down, I want to have more muscle, right? So I'm spending the time between competitions focusing on that. And, not only for competition, but just for overall health and well-being. I think, there is a ton of research that shows that as we age, how much muscle density really does improve our quality of life. So it's awesome that you're doing so good. And now, obviously, you can pick up your kids and throw them around the house if you want, and super mom, right?
Yeah, and I've only really gained. So I was 135.
Yeah.
It ended, and I'm 140 now. So I've gained about 5 pounds.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like I still feel really good, and I feel like I'm gaining muscle, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Well, and that's a part of it. It's not just, we don't want to get too attached to a number on the scale, especially when you're feeling strong, you're eating well, you're obviously like bubbly and happy, hopefully on a daily basis, like that's awesome. So yeah, I'm thrilled. Like, I'm so glad that you got to be in the top 3. I think, the level of competition this year was pretty insane. The job of judging this thing was no easy task. So well done. I think, having said your waist basically got shrunk in half for your third
It
time.
did. Like I lost half of my body.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna encourage Troy, and I'm kind of in charge of it. So I think we can make sure that you're in the Transformation Challenge group next time. For that reason, I think, giving back and explaining to people, what worked for you, what didn't work. And who knows, maybe we'll even have a couple of you guys do guest like live videos. I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's fun.
So awesome. Well, thank you for your time today. Anything you want to add? Any thoughts? Anything you feel like is worth adding to add some value to the people that are, maybe thinking about doing something like this?
I would just say do it. It's so worth it.
Awesome.
Like when I first signed up, I just was like, okay, let's just try. But
Yeah.
it's so motivating, and there's so many other people who are in the same boat as you that you don't realize that those people are in that same mindset,
Yeah.
and you just transform and grow together. And so it's very, very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the internet is so great for so many reasons, but I think that's one is that you find like-minded people with like goals that have no proximity to you that you would have never in your life otherwise been around. So
Right.
that's awesome. All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time today, and can't wait to get this video out and share it with everybody.
Okay, thank you.